So first heat of the men's 800 meters, and this one is absolutely stacked. You can see there the back of Neil Laros, who's doing an audacious 800 and 5,000 double, but once again is helped by the fact that there are only 2 rounds in the 800 meters. A little bit surprising. Now, we had to check a couple of times to make sure we hadn't missed anything in the schedule. This is Francesco Panici, very impressive recent PB at the meeting Stanislas in Nancy, winning a top race. Henry Jonas winning the British Universities title with a dip on the line for Loughborough. Ronaldo Olivo of Spain, another athlete who's had a personal best this year, 1:45.59. This is Stevik of Norway, who have the potential to enter at least one athlete in every event. Interesting, we didn't stop for Thomas Marques Andrade, one of the big improvers this year, to 1:44.88, but that tells you how packed this event is. Now, Laros then hasn't done an 800 meters this year, but we know his phenomenal pedigree.
On your marks.
Mile national record in Eugene, the Diamond League, the Pre-Classic recently, 3:45.9. Personal best here over these 2 laps comes from Monaco a couple of years ago, that 1:44.78. But he's a 4-time European age group champion, helped by the fact that he's done doubles, 1,500 and 5,000 a couple of years ago at under 20s. Year before that, 1,500 and 3,000 there, under 10, under 18 level, and for sure that was a real breakthrough moment for him as a young future star, following the footsteps of Jakob Ingebrigtsen. We'll see the European under-23 leader go in the 3rd heat, though, Alexander Stepanov of Germany. So, top 2 in each heat going through, and then 2 time qualifiers. 50.80 at the bell. So Panici, just as he did in Nancy, really pushing the pace. And Jonas, who's also very strong over 1,500 meters, trying to follow through. He won the UK under-23 trial for this event, but for sure, competition stepped up. It's going to be really tough to be inside the top 2 here, and 2 more heats to come. So, Panici of Italy in the blue, Laros, blonde hair as always, flopping about. In second for the Netherlands, Jonas still there fighting, Olivo and Marques de Andrade. Bronze medalist at under-20 level 2 years ago. Look at this, a 4-way scrap for the top 2 positions. Jonas just about there, Laros is overtaken by Jonas. And what a finish there. Well, maybe more of an 800 specialist, you might say, beating the man who's been successful over the past few years at 1,500, 3,000 and 5,000. And it's a championship record as well, beating a mark that had been held since 1999 by Neil Schumann. Of course, went on to Olympic gold for Germany, 1:45.21 it was. I think that just tells you we don't often see a race like that. Going full pelt, 50.80 at the bell for Panici, who's in incredible form, but so often not replicated at this kind of event, and in a heat as well, which is extraordinary. Maybe, Ellen, it tells you about the confidence of some of these athletes, and maybe it tells you they know that there should only be 2 races for those who aren't doubling up. Extraordinary.
Well, a record that stood for over 25 years. And a record that's been completely smashed as well, over a second off it. And what about that for a battle to the line? Jonas not giving up. He needed to push and push. Well, we'll, of course, keep a really keen eye on just how fast this next heat goes, with just 2 fastest qualifiers and going through non-automatically. And Laros will hope that he's done enough. Really looking at that new championship record, you feel, to put it out there, that should be enough for a non-automatic qualifying space, but you never know.
So I make it 6 athletes under the old championship record. That is absolutely unbelievable. Yeah, but it was extraordinary, though, because the 6 all came in with fantastic recent times, including that 1:44.2 personal best for Panici just a couple of weeks ago. More of that to come, but overall leader for so long out in the pole vault.
Yeah, we were hoping that we'd see it. We haven't been shown it just yet. Here's Justin Davis sharing lane 7 with Kaja of Denmark. Solberg of Norway. They're enjoying their moments, aren't they? Dudica, the 19-year-old, golds at under 20 and under 18 level. Well, he'd love to complete the collection, wouldn't he, here at under 23s. Great Swiss contingent. They're making all the noise. Ramon Wittfleet, the man on the inside, who was second to Dudica at the 2023 under-20s. A huge amount of talent going in this second of our men's 800-metre heats. A reminder, the first 2, and just the first 2 in each heat going through automatically, and then 2 next fastest time qualifiers. To the side from Cardil of Spain. Justin Davies, well, he has the world qualifying time already. Leading this one out, and leading them out fast. UK indoor champion. 51.25 as they come through the bell, so just slightly slower than that first heat. Wittfleet tucked in behind. Dudica trying to move around the outside, and he's gathered a huge amount of momentum and will keep running, and now he'll be just into third. Wittfleet responding. Davies still has the lead. European indoor semi-finalist on his Great Britain international debut. And he's looking very, very strong, and it is him who is pulling away. A real battle behind. Looks to one side. They don't want to ease up just too much. They'll have it in the bag now, though. Davies and Wittfleet just throwing this arm out, ensuring that if he'd missed anything around the outside, that he was still confirmed for that second automatic qualifying spot. Well, the others will have to wait and see. 1:44.67, so that as well would have been inside the old championship record. It got obliterated in the first round. Confident run, composed. Justin Davies joining his compatriot through in the final. Dudica, like to wait and see whether his time is enough. Laurus's time was 1:44.9. We've got 2 national under-20 records. New personal best for Wittfleet, who hadn't gone under 1:45. So breaking a new personal barrier, as well as seeing himself into the final, where he will try and claim another medal, this time at under-23 level.
Well, to contend for 800-metre gold, need to make it through to the final. And then, many of the athletes, really, you'll feel will have a chance, given the pedigree that's been shown. So just those two non-automatic spots, and Laros and Marques de Andrade both considerably inside the championship record that had stood until a few moments ago, waiting to see if their times will be good enough. Fascinating to just have the 2 rounds here, but yeah, another decent heat. I wouldn't say it's anywhere near as stacked as the first one, but we do have the likes of Bartosz Kitlinski, 1:44.77 at best recently. Kitlinski also the 400-meter PB this year. That latest improvement over 2 laps coming in at Montreuil in France last month. Giovanni Lazzaro, we also saw there the Italian indoor champion over this distance. 1:44.95 his PB in Rovereto. It had been 1:45.71, so real gains being made. Another decent 400 athlete is David Race, who we saw at the British Universities Championships. He was just pipped there, but has good international experience. A 4x400 meter gold medalist at under 20 level. The likes of Sam Lunt, Jake Minchell, who's here in the 4 hurdles, and Charlie Carvel. Just has to get it right positionally, because he does have a really good kick. So Lazzaro out front then. And David Garcia of Portugal on the outside. 53.99, so gosh, that's more than 3 seconds off that first heat. That extraordinary 1:44 flat time. Lazzaro probably aware to some extent of what's been going down over the last few moments in terms of the fantastic times that we've seen. Have really shocked. We know this event has moved on. We know we've seen some of the fastest times in history over the Diamond League, particularly last year. David Race in a good spot on the outside. Lazzaro still leading with Garcia. Stepanov had been the European under-23 leader this year. No more, of course. Hadn't had time to change the blue bib and print a new one. Will be for the final, though. Stepanov will make it as well with Lazzaro. And unfortunately, though, we know that only 2 athletes will make it through from this third heat, because Laros was waiting, Marques de Andrade was waiting. It would be extraordinary if they didn't make it with a 1:44.1 and 1:44.5. But what a gauntlet to be thrown down to Alexander Stepanov, who had run 1:44.1 in Bungstadt, managing to make it out on top in this heat. And I think he'll be quite thankful of the draw putting in this last one.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyone, if they wanted to qualify non-automatically in this race, would have had to smash their personal best. 1:44.19, that mark set by Laros, and of course Andrade not too far behind that. Really rallying, wasn't he, Race? And you can see the swing in his arms, but he couldn't get there, and the gap ahead of him just started to open up. And particularly when we looked at that clocking at 400 meters, we knew that it wasn't going to be anywhere near close to what they needed. And you felt that before even going into this race, looking at that time. Daunting for any of the athletes going in this heat. You had to secure it, you had to be tactical, you had to play your cards right, and Lazzaro and Stepanov did. And of course, those being the only 2 to qualify through to the final from this third and final heat of the men's 800 meters.
Well, the Wenger boys return from the DJ. I told you might get sick of these songs by the final day. It is always the case. And Rob Walker was giving a shout out to every single song at the European Team Championships. It was almost though it was music with a break of track and field action in between. Anyway, Francesca Panizzi with that championship record. Well, haven't seen that too many times in heats. Have seen it in field event qualification. The likes of Silja Kosonen in the hammer and Che in the discus, and Jono, a lane infringement there in his earlier heat, so unfortunately disqualified, but
was out of the picture anyway.
Out of the picture.
Yeah. But it's always, when you see that, when they're sharing lanes, it's always tough when you have these heats that are packed full of athletes, because of course we don't have that extra round as well. Some reactions there to the men's high jump, which we still haven't seen any of, but as soon as we do, of course, we'll bring it to you.
What an extraordinary final this could be in the men's 800 metres. Thomas Marques de Andrade, European under-20 bronze medalist. Henry Jonas here, British Universities champion. Alexander Stepanov, German indoor champion last year. Francisco Panici, now the championship record holder after an extraordinary display in the heats. Niels Laros, 5,000-metre champion. Justin Davis made his GB senior debut this year and is absolutely flying. Ramon Whipley also involved at the European indoors, and one of those to improve in the heat. Giovanni Lazzaro, this year's Italian indoor champion. The final of the men's 800 metres. Well, in the heat, a championship record that had stood to Nils Schumann of Germany since 1999 was obliterated. It had been 1:45.21 and is now 1:44 flat. Panici the best, but 6 athletes underneath it in one heat, 2 in another. Absolutely extraordinary personal bests right through those who qualified, including Henry Jonas, who's in second place there, 1:44.7 to 1:44.1. Niels Laros improved. He hadn't done so since Monaco in 2023. Now 1:44.19. A 5 times age group champion is Laros. He's on the outside here, trying to do an 800 and 5,000 double. 51.76 at the bell there, so not quite as fast as Panici was in the heat, but still on for something very special. And how could it not be after those heats that we saw? And maybe there was a part to play in it with these men knowing there would only be 2 rounds. Panici of Italy, Laros of the Netherlands, Jonas of Great Britain, with his teammate on his shoulder on the outside, who's been a revelation this year, Justin Davis, winning his first British senior title, now with the international chance. But these kind of chances are one that Niels Laros always takes. So here comes the Flying Dutchman. A double gold for Niels Laros. 1:44.36. Another time that would have obliterated that championship record had it not been set in the heat. Absolutely unbelievable. He is a 6-time European age group champion, and Panici ends up on the ground there. He gave it everything. Justin Davis did as well. He takes the silver for Great Britain and Northern Ireland. But Ellen, this was extraordinary. Laros pressed on the turbo. He found the extra gear while they all scrapped behind.
Well, still glancing just to the side, looking for a time maybe. And, well, he's the moment, isn't he? And that ability to switch it on, we've spoken about it pretty much every time we've seen him race. Just has that 0 to 60 button that he can press when he needs to and makes it look so easy. Just turning up the cadence and off he goes. A lovely moment there. Justin Davis walking pretty much all the way out to the shot put circle to see the board, the digital screen, to check if he'd got second, and he had to wait. And then watching the celebrations as he dropped to his knees, slapped his thighs, knowing that he got the silver medal. And look, there's hardly anything in it.
Niels Laros only ever does doubles. European under-18, 1,500 and 3,000. European under-20, 1500 and 5000, and now a different kind of double each time. It's just not enough for him to do the same and to do one. European under-23, 800 and 5000. It was acceleration that Max Verstappen would have been proud of, as we see that all Greek-speaking podium.
Hi, I'm Manu Duplantis. Subscribe to the European Athletics YouTube channel down below.